All right, we are live with Jeff Mackey from the Mackey Portfolio. Mr. Mackey, how are things going this week?
Things are good. Things are
Things
good.
are good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Kind of inching into the holidays. It's an exciting time of year, Spencer.
yeah. For of course, so obviously for you, Q4 is Christmas lasts the whole quarter, I suppose. Um, let's talk, Jeff, about the sort of the state of the retail and consumer markets right now as it pertains to stocks, obviously. So, obviously, the story of the year is that everything was basically priced to zero. For
Yep.
Liberation Day, then we had this rip roaring rally, right, for
Right.
several months after that. And now we're in this kind of weird spot where it looks like a bunch of these retail stocks are rolling over a little bit. Talk to us about that. What's going on here?
Well, the market, the consumer-facing stocks, as you know, we like to make a little basket. And the way people are behaving, they're still kind of the stuff that they want. They're buying. They're going out. They're doing everything. You get to the discretionary portion, though, and the part where it requires a little faith in the actual direct consumer spending. Names like we saw Nike last week. That was not a positive follow through. We talked about that stock, how the trade would be if it got to 80. You could short it. It almost got to 80 and it immediately rolled over. They're back past below where they were before they reported. That kind of tape action, when you see a company beat by nearly 100% and just collapse immediately, that's a sign of a pessimistic tape. I mean, unless they're actively assuring you business is fine right now, this second, business is fine. Please don't sell our stock. The assumption on Wall Street is just, well, this is peak earnings. It's going to hell in a handbasket. We've seen it all year. Nike, Starbucks, they're not getting any credit for any attempt to turn around. They actually look almost exactly the same on a company-wide basis. $200 billion market cap, American brands trying to turn it around, and this continuous, endless selling on the bet that, we just don't buy stuff like that anymore.
You could probably find a number of these stocks besides Starbucks and Nike, who I guess you could say in a way are almost they're fallen darlings, fallen angels, not the original fallen angels, but like new fallen angels. Giant consumer companies, American of Americana, that are just not as popular as they used to be, right? I'm sure we could think of a few
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
right off the top
Well,
of my head.
it used to be a headline, right? It AMC used to be a headline. Geez, people talk about that stock just
Yeah.
ad nauseum. And it turns out maybe movies are just kind of a crap industry now. Maybe that's just not
Yeah.
the business it once was. We're past the headline stage when it really blows people's doors off to hear that things aren't going great at Nike or Starbucks. But we're kind of just in this slow bleed type of environment where, okay, so it's no longer a headline. It's no longer a 5 alarm fire. It's just this 20-year tire burn where value is going to continue to kind of evaporate. The stocks aren't very cheap yet. But, we're also seeing it. And so that's one theme, that you have some companies that just get old, and that's kind of an old Yeller theme.
Yeah.
But it's also economy specific. And you look at kind of the big tariff proof names. Walmart leads the pack out of the three retailers that really stand to gain share overall, no matter what, but are still exposed to the consumer. And that's going to be Walmart, Costco, and Amazon. The latter two make all their money really from subscriptions and services, but not retail. But no matter what, all these stocks look about the same, just kind of dead ass flat for the year. Walmart's the best of the lot at 14% or something. Costco is just 2% above the Liberation Day lows. That's, this has been a great stock. It's a lot of consolidating, but man, that they didn't do anything wrong. And of course, Amazon is just dead ass flat for the entire year, which from a retail perspective, this has been the best year Amazon's really ever had. So they're kind of caught in this place where they're not getting any credit for being better at retail than they were before, because they're seen as a tech company. But
That's
then
right.
as a tech company,
it's not even about the retail anymore. It's about the cloud and the AI, right?
right. But they're damned if they do, kind of either way. So the retail side gets ignored, and then they kind of hack at the value of what they're doing with AI because of the retail side.
Yeah.
It's a weird kind of take on that, but you end up with just this kind of flat type of year. And you continue to see people guessing that Christmas is going to be pretty mediocre. We're right. It's nearly $1 trillion holiday. And by all rights, holiday gift giving should be over $1 trillion in these United States in 2025, Spencer. We deserve a gift, everyone.
Well,
Everyone deserves a
well,
gift.
one thing I want to add about the Nike real fast, and if we can bring that chart back up, is you can see that high that happened on the earnings day, right? That high
Yep.
candle right there. How
Yep.
many
But the
times?
very top happened the day later. It was a day
Right, okay.
later, and so
How
yeah.
many times do you see these inflection points, both on the upside and the downside? They coincide with earnings dates, right? A lot of times you see the day of the report, the day after the report, these stocks make a new high, they make a new low, and that is an inflection point for months or quarters, right? You can look at it's
Yep.
not in your purview, but Berkshire Hathaway, the chart looks just like that, right? It bottomed out the day. I'm sorry. It bottomed out the day of its most recent earnings report. It's been straight up pretty much ever since then, right? I
Yeah, you
mean,
kind
these
of
earnings,
flush out the weak hands, and
yeah,
then after that, you need kind of new devotees to take over the story for it. In a
kind of.
case like Nike, you got to say, okay, it's now it's 10% higher than when they reported. It's nice that they had a good quarter. Do I really think this thing has legs? Do I believe yet another quarter where they're pointing to innovation just right down the hallway? Gee, we're so close to when we're having innovative product hit the shelves. No one cares anymore,
And you
or
said
they're done listening.
it was going to take quarters, not weeks, not months, quarters for this to maybe play out. So I guess we'll just let's check back in on Nike in 6 months. All right, how about that? Uh,
Hopefully we kept some people out of the stock just because it is going to be
yeah.
a long story. Same, I was in and out of Starbucks. I want to like Starbucks. Don't have to like them early.
All right, let's talk about the holiday season here and sort of where things stand. We talked about how the holiday, or sorry, about the Halloween season started in August, right? We kind of pulled everything forward a little bit because of the trade war and the tariffs and all that
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
How are things shaping up though?
Huge. And here's the consumer writ large. This is kind of the Nike story, and really your takeaway from the whole thing. In the here and now, you continue to have companies kind of report they beat earnings by 9,000 miles, and then they guide to something not, it's boy, thank goodness we survived. Next week we're for sure going to die. And it's they just are all erring on the side of conservative. But when the numbers come in, it turns out that people spend. Everyone tells the pollsters sentiment's awful. Everything's going to hell in a handbasket. But we're celebrating Halloween at a record level, all-time record levels for Halloween. There's nothing more discretionary than dressing up your dog like a pumpkin, and yet more Americans will do that this year than have ever done before. Things just can't be that bad. And it's axiomatic in retail. As goes Halloween, so goes Christmas. No one thinks Christmas is going to be good. And so that's literally the lack of faith that we have in the consumer right now. It's kind of so pessimistic, at least by one degree of separation. However, the consumers are behaving, it's a little soft, but Wall Street is kind of just betting that it's going to be much worse than that and continue to slide. So even though Halloween's fine, Christmas is going to suck. Even though Christmas is fine, next year will suck. I mean,
you're saying
there's
watch what people do, not what they say, and
yeah,
you have faith in our ability to begrudgingly spend our money, right? Even if we say we're not going to, we're
right.
going to spend our money.
We're going to bitch all the way to the mall, and we're going to feel crappy about it, and we're going to complain about how much we're spending for a ticket. It's not bad if you're complaining how much you're spending for a ticket. It's bad when you stop spending for the ticket.
Right.
That's how you can tell. If you're actually at the place complaining about it being expensive, it's not that bad. You're fine.
It's true. It is very true. All right, Halloween's been huge. This suggests Christmas will also be big. I guess we'll have to check back in that following week, or maybe the first week of January, and see how things ended up. But I'm with you, Jeff. I'm with you. Never
Thank you.
doubt the consumer. Watch what they do, not what they say. Everyone loves to be all concerned when they answer survey questions. Let's talk about what's coming up. We are sort of approaching the final earnings season of the calendar year, but we're in this kind of lull on the retail earnings front. We do have Levi's reporting on Thursday, and I guess after that it'll be a few weeks, and then we'll start to get some consumer and some tech reports. But we
Yeah.
got Levi's this week. What does this look like to you?
I mean, it's a great looking chart. There's Sydney Sweeney. Just because we're talking about denim, I should note she doesn't work for Levi's. She's not affiliated in any way, shape, or form. But she makes the graph because she's been the story of Levi's this year, at least denim in general. The bar is pretty low. No one's expecting really revenue growth. There's a reason that kind of I've always joked that Levi shouldn't really be public, and that's because they don't move the ball on their own. Their denim's either in or it's out, and when denim's out, it's hard for Levi to make any progress, and when it's in, they got to kind of make hay while the sun shines. They've been on a heater, and so the question here is: are we going to get that reaction like we saw from Nike, where it's just going to be Jordan reaching and then rolling over again? Is there anything Levi can say that's going to inspire people to think it'll continue to be good? This is kind of in the context, it's been a great run that they've had, but if you pull this out for 6 years since Levi went public, and this company's been it's the Rosa Trelli of private equity. They've been around with everybody. But the last time it went public for the first time was 2019. The stock is trading within pennies of where it was 6 years ago. It's made absolutely zero progress.
Oh, that's correct. I think I seen opening on that day. I seen opening price of 22.22. So
yep. So you'd have made about $1
in 6 years. You're up. You're up about $2.
$2, yeah. So hopefully you didn't put away for your kids' college fund, because that's
my goodness.
So it's a lot of it's not going anywhere. But in this case, Levi's becomes a little better company. If they're deploying their capital at all, they should be able to take advantage of the fact that denim demand has absolutely gone screaming higher. This is the second year in a row that we've seen a continuation of denim demand. And so we got two stories going on. One, the denim stocks all rolling over. Two, demand expected this year and next, kind of as far as the eye can see, the category continues to grow. Something's got to give. And I think it's Levi's should beat the number. It should be strong. Man, they've been crapping on these stocks. Look at that. Look at Sean McLaughlin. Look how handsome he is there in his Canadian tuxedo. He looks like Bryan Adams. He looks quintessentially Canadian.
That's great. That's wonderful. There's a comment from Jason in the chat, and I can't even tell if he's joking. That the Sydney moment for denim was the same as the Chat GPT moment for AI. Maybe he's right. Maybe Sydney Sweeney just kicked off a decade-long denim craze
of dominance. It could be just denim to the moon. This could be the new athleisure. Levi really will crush though, and this is if your industry grows at 1% a year for long enough, 6% looks awful good, and that's kind of where the stocks are. But I mean, but again, that chart is something else.
Yeah,
that's a depressing run. So can they make new highs? I mean, it's not a particularly expensive stock. The story that we've already seen the peak of denim and it's already rolling over. Do you want to get in front of it? Is going to be what they're going to have to fight against. And we'll see how management does with that. The company's tightened up over time. That's kind of what they do continuously. These companies that kind of get swallowed up by private equity and spat back out, they're always becoming more efficient. Levi's a better company than it was before. Let's see what their outlook says. More importantly, we'll see how the reaction goes on the street.
But you are leaning towards the upside for the sheer Sydney Sweeney effect, and nothing more. Nothing is special about Levi's. It's just we're in a bit of a denim moment right now. So
we're in a denim moment, and the denim moment's going to keep going. It's not the cheapest company in the world, but I've been on the bullish side for a while now. I think that you can continue to buy if the earnings are going to be higher than expected. Eventually, that's going to weigh enough on the stock that'll take over. Now, again, there's so much reason. Every time we do one of those tariff things, where it's just like a Friday and the man goes on social media and decides to have, 100% tariff on bird boxes or whatever the hell he gets up his kind of snout over that minute. That disrupts a lot of retail, and it makes it really hard to kind of offset, even with solid results. Again, unless these companies are reassuring you moment by moment that everything's fine, it's really easy to come up with a bearish scenario that sounds super smart.
This is also just a lesson in IPO dynamics. If a 150-year-old company is going to IPO, just ask yourself why, right?
Right. It's probably not for a new plant.
To be applied to Birkenstock, right? Just ask yourself, why now?
You think? Right. You date back to the time of the Vikings, and you've never needed capital before. It seems so odd.
Yeah.
But
anyway, So this is Thursday after the close. Is that right?
It's Thursday after the close,
All
and
right.
it will be a good insight into the consumer. They Levi should do well themselves, but I think the denim moment is continuing.
All right.
They're certainly savvy enough not to crap all over the parade while they got it going right now.
I am sure that Jeff will be writing about Levi's on Thursday and Friday. If you want to get Jeff's free emails, the link is in the description. If you want to actually get access to his portfolio and be a member and get his trades, find out what he's buying and selling, when he buys and sells them, get access to his exclusive reports. He does those periodically. He does earnings report cards on earnings reports. So I'm sure maybe there will be one for Levi. That's all also in the description. Join up and actually see what Jeff owns and see what he's buying and see what he's selling. And then Jeff, we're gonna have a video maybe this week, maybe next week, where I guess you went to the mall with
We
Sean
went to the mall. We had a good
McLaughlin,
time.
and
Yeah,
you went shopping. So we'll talk more about that in a couple of days when the video is. I think it's in the factory right now. It's getting stitched together, but I'm looking forward to that. That should be good.
it's getting welded together. It was a good
That's
time.
right.
It should be some fun stuff. We did a quick little primer we took a tour of the neighborhood and the people you meet. It was just like that Sesame Street
Awesome.
skit.
All right. Get the Mackie portfolio, get Jeff's free emails, and Jeff, we will see you next week.
All right, my friend.
All right.